In this video, I'm going to be going over 20 different facts you probably didn't know about the Center Ascended. I tried to put in some ones from the old Center map. This is just all about the Center, as well as some things for new players, because there are some things that new players might not know that some old players may already know or find obvious. But anyway, let's get into this. And number one is this new room right here. This is a new room in the Center Ascended, and it's pretty cool. It's basically, you come in here, it looks like there's a face in here just out of these like blue crystals. Basically not really a point to this room, but it is kind of funny that they added it. Number two is this area right here in the parkour cave as well. These purple crystals were completely removed, which I don't really like. I mean, this new one looks cool. I like how bright it is in here, like the lighting and stuff. But it kind of sucks that the purple crystals, like the purple lighting, as well as that kind of like dark blue, was removed and replaced with these blue crystals, which are the same ones that were on Scorched Earth. I'm assuming they did this because they didn't want to have to remake the models, which seems like they did a lot with the Center, but kind of, I don't know, kind of disappointing, because I always thought that was one of the coolest rooms in the Center with those glowing purple crystals. And number three is the waterfall. In Ark Survival Evolved, you could basically go under the waterfall right here, and you could walk around. I think you could even build stuff too. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Center Ascended, this is still here. I thought they would have removed this, but apparently not. You can still walk under this part of the waterfall. You can run around, do whatever, and it's actually a lot flatter than it was before. And number four is the new Pyromane, and you can actually find the new Pyromane on Scorched Earth as well. Not specific to the Center, but I know this was thought to be a Center exclusive creature, but I guess it's not, and it actually does spawn on Scorched Earth as well. Number five is the original person who made the Center, which of course the Center was originally a mod map at Ark Survival Evolved, and it got ported to the main game. Actually was hired by Wildcard, and he worked a lot on the Center Ascended, and a lot of the changes were designed by him, and he talked a lot on Twitter about the making of the Center Ascended, and a lot before it coming out as well. He was talking about the process of making it, but it is kind of cool that he did end up getting hired by Wildcard. And number six is if you have the r.volumetric cloud command enabled, the water will be pretty much crystal clear. As you could see, it was kind of like a blue tint before, but now it's like crystal clear, and if you go below that depth, so you can actually see a lot in the Center, but it also makes it to where you can see a lot of the outside of the map, which I don't think you're supposed to be able to see. But at number seven, we have the charcoal trees. On Ark Survival Evolved, the volcanic area was covered with these black charred trees that you could harvest charcoal from, but in Ark Survival Ascended, they've been completely removed, which really sucks because I loved using these to basically just get a bunch of charcoal instead of having to make it myself. I don't know why they decided to remove these, but I really hope they don't end up removing them for like Ragnarok and stuff as well. And number eight is the cave that leads down to the underworld, where there's a ton of lava and stuff. The lava has actually been replaced with water. Not really sure about this change, as I thought it made it look really cool having the lava there, and kind of made it to where you had to be careful going around these edges or else you would die. But now that all that is kind of taken away, now that there's just water there. The area does look pretty cool though, but I'm not sure why they decided to replace the lava with the water, but that is a change that has happened in the Center Ascended. And number nine is on the Center. There's a lot of caves known as bear caves, and as the name suggests, they spawn bears, which is actually quite a unique mechanic. And there's a ton of these caves around the map, and Bay Plays Games actually made a video on all the locations of that. I'll have that linked in the description if you want more detail on here, but this is just showing off one of the caves, and I think it's pretty interesting that the Center has these. And number 10 is the Tech Giga skin you would originally get from the Center boss fight has been removed from the game. Not sure why they removed, or actually kind of am sure, because it's probably because they didn't want to make a new model, but kind of wish we had this one because this was a really dope skin to get after defeating that boss. And number 11 is in the parkour cave where you'd originally get the artifact of the pack. There's been a chest added, which actually looks pretty cool, just a giant chest with a bunch of crystals in it. I think this is a nice little detail, and I definitely like this thing. And number 12 is the underworld. This one might be obvious to older players, but for newer players who haven't played the Center at all, there is a giant secret underworld area. There's multiple different ways to get to it. I'll show you one way to get to it, but of course there's different ways as well. This one requires you going underwater, but you can kind of go to that location on the map and then go underwater, and then once you get all the way out, then you will basically fall right into it. And this area is really sick and really dope looking. But after that, at number 13 is the hands on the Center map. Originally in this cave in the redwoods, there was like these handprints on the walls, but for some reason they also removed these as well. I'm guessing because they didn't want to make new models for it, but I don't understand why they keep removing like small little details like this from the Center. Kind of sucks, as this was actually a really cool area having these massive hands on the wall. I mean, they don't look that massive when you look at it, but they were actually pretty big. Kind of added some mystery and kind of like cool story or background to the map, I guess, but they're no longer there. Number 14 is the brand new Pyromane for the center, and of course Scorched Earth too, but it did come out with the center, so it is included on here. This one actually uses the same animations as the Shadow Mane from Ark Survival Evolved. It has way different abilities and is a lot different from it, but it does have the same animations. Number 15 is the terminals. This is what the terminals look like in the center, and finally they changed them in the Ark Ascended to be the normal ones. I always disliked those old ones because it was just so annoying to try and get the Rexes or whatever thing you were using to fight the boss on there, as they would get stuck in them constantly, and it was just a horrible design. So really glad those are finally gone. And number 16 is Gigas used to spawn everywhere on the center when it first came out back on Ark Survival Evolved, and I find this kind of funny. Of course, they were extremely rare. Like, they didn't just spawn in every single place all the time. Like, it was super rare, but they did have a chance to literally spawn anywhere on the map, which I find kind of funny. Number 17 is the outside of the map. Specifically, well, they added this new area outside of the map, which most people know about, but if you go in ghost mode, this area actually goes extremely far, and you can kind of just like keep going. Of course, it gets less and less detailed as you go out, but like, this is behind area. You'd normally never be able to see this area, which of course makes sense because it doesn't look that good, but there's just a ton of areas to explore that honestly are kind of interesting. There's not really any other Ark map that has huge explorable areas outside of the map like that. And number 18 is these underwater bubbles. If you are new to the game and new to the center, there are these basically giant underwater bubbles in the underwater area, and they basically just giant air pockets. You can actually like go inside of them as well. You can build in them, bring dinos in there, and they're actually really dope. As well, with these underwater bubbles, there's been a new ruin added. This might be one of the few ruins that have been added with the Center Ascended. But of course, if you go to that area on the map, there kind of looks like this right here. You can see this is what the outside of it looks like, and then you can go inside of it. And there's not massive or anything, but it is a really cool area, and this one actually could be a pretty fun spot to build in. And number 20 is salt has been added to the center, or you can get raw salt from these bones in the volcanic area. Kind of weird how they removed charcoal, but then they added salt. If you are wondering, salt is an exclusive resource to the Scorched Earth. Well, it's not exclusive anymore. I mean, it did come in later maps, but it definitely wasn't on the center before. But now you can get it, and you can't really do anything with it because in order to use raw salt, make preserving salts, you need sulfur. So you can't just use salt and make preserving salts out of that. So it's kind of useless, but it still is kind of a nice addition to have. But that is 20 facts you probably didn't know about the Center Ascended in Ark Ascended. I know a few of them were for more newer players, as it's kind of obvious to some older players, but of course I don't think most of them were like that anyway. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe. Thanks for watching, and bye.